Shraddha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Sonal Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, so good to hear you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna, Varshana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Jai Shri
Oh, look at that. Keshvi and her parents have come.
Where is Keshvi?
Here.
You cannot see. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hey. Hello. Little smile. Ah, there you are. There you are. It's coming. I like your ponytail.
Yeah, she was doing the tummy time in front of her temple.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful. This is her temple? This is beautiful. Wow.
So we have Krishna, Radha, Jagannath, Baldev,
Wow. They look so good.
and then my Prabhu also has like the wall painting.
Wow.
Like a sticker.
Very nice.
So last week we had devotees like Kanya Pujan at our home. So we had called like all the kids and
Your
Shlok,
Kanya was also sitting.
Yeah, Kanya Pujan. So like the boys also come, right? So Balram, who is Vrindavan Priya Prabhu's son, and Shlok, who is Tir Prabhu and Suprita Mataji's son. They put this turban from the tissue paper, saying that Jagannath and Baldev cannot stay without turban. So from the kitchen towel, they made the turban.
Oh, that's
very nice. Very cool.
That's very nice.
Beautiful. Wow. Very creative.
The idea is very good.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Wow.
And this
Thank you for sharing. This is beautiful. Yeah. From where did you get this?
We got it from India, Mataji. It's a wall sticker, so it sticks on the wall.
Yeah, and then you can take it off, peel it off, right? As you need it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Get Damodar also.
Yes, Mataji. Actually, we were thinking of what to get like as a gift. This would be like a good gift,
Right.
So my mom is coming on 17th.
Oh, wow.
Mom and Masi, finally.
Both of them, fantastic.
Yes.
Wow.
Now she starts talking.
Yeah.
Then they will enjoy that.
Yeah. Sorry, Mataji, you can start the class. We started with the
This is class where we were looking at Jagannath and we were learning classes on how to do DT decoration.
Well, I like that Jagannath and Baldev thing.
Very nice.
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
And then we have small shaligram also. The devotees gave us.
Oh my goodness. It's so cute. It's a pink shaligram.
Pink shaligram.
For the girl.
In the tummy time, she loves to look at it and smile. So we have like small Ganesh and Hanumanji.
So you got all of these from India?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Wow. I love the Radha also there. She's beautiful.
Radha
and Krishna.
The way they are looking from inside, that was so cute.
Yeah.
Looks Radha Rani is wearing goggles. Huh? From far at least she's wearing goggles.
Oh,
wow. The Radha and Krishna, they are made of cloth? They're cloth.
Yeah, they are soft toys, Mataji.
Soft toys, yeah.
All of them are soft toys? All of them
yes,
are soft.
They are all soft toys.
Wow.
Oh, very good. She's lucky. From this age, she's
And we human beings are also soft toys, Mataji.
Yes, Shraddha Mataji.
Varshana Mataji always says like the connectivity map to Krishna, right? And how to like the neural networking map that Shraddha Mataji taught us. Everything linked to Krishna.
Mind mapping. Brainwashed. Wow. Very good. Thank you for Keshi.
You are so lucky, Vaishnavi.
She is.
Your dad wants you to sit already. Your dad wants you to sit.
And she loves it, she loves now looking at the camera and smiling and giggling because we do all the time with our parents, right? So, and like
Hare
right
Krishna.
now,
Hare Krishna, Keshvi.
say Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Keshvi.
Keshvi, you're the class today. Huh?
Keshvi's giving the class.
Yeah, she
No.
sings a little bit in between. Right now,
She
she's
showed
not.
us all the darshan of the deities. So that is good class starting
For all of us, yeah.
for all of us. Oh, okay, we didn't say anything.
Sit.
She's saying,
Why
yeah,
did
she's
you
saying,
sit?
yeah.
I
She's
want
saying,
to
don't praise
move
me
all
so
the
much.
time. Yes.
Tummy time.
Okay, Mataji, you can start the class. This will
Yeah,
go
very
on
nice.
forever.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Yeah, tummy time. That's a good way to fall on your tummy. Sakshat Danvat Pranams. Okay.
Sashtanga Pranam.
All right. Okay, so we will get started here. Although we don't want to. We want to spend time with Keshvi. Spending time with devotees is also equally good. But we'll get started with these short prayers to the spiritual master here. Om Ajnanatimarandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Okay, welcome again, dear devotees, and especially to little Keshvi here. So we will get started with reading from our Bhagavad-gita. We are slowly inching towards the end of the chapter number 3. And we have Sonia Mataji, is it? She's joining us. Sonia, are you in India or are you back in USA?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I'm
Hare
in India.
You
I
are
was
in
just
India.
writing a chat message that I'm attending with my mother.
Oh,
but
fantastic, fantastic.
our
If possible,
connection is a bit poor, but we could see Keshvi Mataji. It was so nice to see her. Yeah.
yeah, and then
Okay.
yeah, this is fantastic. If the bandwidth permits, then just do open your line sometime. I'd love to see your mom and offer my respects to her.
Sure, Mataji. Thank
Okay.
you.
Very good, very good. All right. So we are going to do chapter number 31 from Bhagavad-gita, verse number 31 from the 3rd chapter of Bhagavad-gita. And I'm going to start sharing my screen. And let me know whenever you see that. And we'll just take it from there. Sharing the screen. Okay. Can you see 331? And is it big enough for you?
Yes.
No, Mataji.
Oh, not for Sutapa.
Not for Sutapa? Okay.
Yes,
Sutapa.
Mataji. Yes. Yeah.
It's a very nice verse. And I remember 10 years ago, Vachushika Prabhu had spent one whole, not whole evening, but at least a large part of the class just making us all recite this, one after the other. And the purpose, the idea was that everybody memorizes it. So let's just see here. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Shraddhavanto na suyanto muchyante tepi karma bihi. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Shraddhavanto na suyanto muchyante tepi karma bihi. I would like all of you to go and recite it once in the same tune. Okay. So let's get started with Sutapa Mataji. Ye me matam
Idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nashoyanto muchyante tepi karma vihi.
Very nice. Roshana.
You are on mute, Mataji.
Sorry, Mataji. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shradhavanto anasuyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Niral, Prabhu, Khyati, are you in a position to recite? Keshvi?
No, Mataji. Sorry.
Okay, we'll pass, no problem. So, Komal?
Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto na shuyanto muchyante tepi karmapihi.
Very nice. Soni? Can you recite?
Yes, Mataji. Ye me matam idam nityam anustishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto no nausyanto muchyanti tepi karma bhihi.
Karmabhihi shraddhavanto na suyanto. Shraddhavanto na suyanto.
suryanto muchyanti tepi karma bhihi.
Very nice. Sumi?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay. Ye me matam idam nityam anushtitanti manavaha manavaha shadavanto nashuyanto muchyan tepi karma bihi.
Karmabhihi. Then this is Su. Yeah, this is S. This is not Sha. Shraddhavanto na suyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Vindhyavali Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manava shraddhavanto anusyante muchyante pi karmabhihi.
Ye me matam idam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto na suyanto muchyante tepi karmabhihi. Synonyms: ye, those who; me, my; matam, injunctions; idam, these; nityam, as an eternal function; anutishtanti, execute regularly; manavaha, human beings; shraddhavantaha, with faith and devotion; anasuyantaha, without envy; anasuyantaha, without envy; muchyante, become free; te, all of them; api, even; karmabhihi, from the bondage of fruitive action. So something which is eternal, what's the Sanskrit for that?
Nityam.
Nityam. Very nice. And if something is an injunction, what is the word for that?
Matam.
Matam. Very nice. And if somebody doesn't have any envy, what is that called?
Anushuyantaha.
Anusuyantaha. And this is very, very important. You know, the envy part is very important. And in Bhagavad-gita elsewhere also, Krishna talks about that. And that is in the verse number 9, in the verse number 2 in chapter number 9. Not 2, true, sorry, I remembered it wrong. In 1. Right. Do you see? What's the word here?
Anushuyave.
Anasuyave, right? Anasuyave. And if you look at the meaning there, what is the meaning of Anasuyave?
To the non-envious.
To the non-envious.
Right? You see, so envy is a very important thing to consider. Important in that sense that, you know, to guard against. And here he's saying that chapter number 9 of Bhagavad Gita, if you look at the title, it's the most confidential knowledge. And so here he's saying that, you know, I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me. I shall impart you this most confidential knowledge. So this is the criteria that you should be never envious of Krishna to be able to get what, you know, that you are wanting to get, right? Which is faith. So if we continue now to the translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Right? Those people who execute your duties according to my injunctions. So let us just go back a few verses here and quickly look at 28, 29, and 30, where he has been talking about one who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between work in devotion and work for fruitive results. 29, bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. Right? So this is the verse that we had picked up last time. Right? And continuing on today, what Krishna is saying is that those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions. And from where do we get the injunctions? You read the Shastras and you get the injunctions. And who follow this teaching faithfully, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive actions, right? Because this chapter is all about karma, right? So when you're doing the work, there's going to be some reaction. And now here is the formula that, if you're doing what Krishna is asking him to do or us to do, and if you do that according to his injunctions and do it with faith, without being envious of Krishna, then you will not have any bondage of fruitive reactions like that, right? So in the purport, Prabhupada further explains that, and he says, the injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. What was the Sanskrit we used for eternally in the verse? Anybody remember that?
Nityam.
Nityam, very nice, right? And therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad-gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith is the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Okay? So interesting thing over here, right? The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. So this is very, very important thing to keep in mind, that we are talking about eternality and the truthfulness, which is eternal. And the injunction of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom. So you can read the Vedas and you can read any of the scriptures which are there, right? The Vedic wisdom comes from the Vedic scriptures, right? But what we need to understand from there is, what is the injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna? What his injunctions are is the main thing that we should capture. What is Krishna telling us, the rules, regulations, the instructions, right? For us. Otherwise, the Vedas also tell you how to do sense gratification, right? But that's not the part that we should be focusing on.
In the first
and it also says that, that these injunctions of Krishna, for example, whatever Krishna is saying there, right?
I don't want to give.
I mean, it's not give it, give it to like the pantry.
Yeah.
Mom, she's talking to you, Mom.
Okay, I'm hearing a side conversation from somewhere. If you can mute yourself. Okay, thank you. So, so one thing we need to keep in mind is that whatever is being said, right? Whatever is being said by Krishna is eternally true. It's not something that, what Krishna is saying just now, just because it's a war, and the war was, everybody had, blown their conch shells, and, now Arjuna has, kind of, chickened out, so to speak. But, and so that's why Krishna cooking up all these examples and all these explanations, and he's saying, now you fight, right? It's not like that. That Krishna's injunctions are eternally true, which means that, whether it's war or whether it is peace, whether it is Satyuga or whether it is Kalyuga, his injunctions will always remain the truth, right? And that is what what you should carry and extract and take away from the Vedas. And then also over there, he was talking about that, how will you become free when you're doing his action? How will you become free from that? Number one, you do according to his injunctions, and then there has to be some faith, right? So he's saying that one should have firm faith in this injunction, and then also without envying the Lord. And this is very, very important. Like I said, that we all are here because of envy of the Lord. Okay. And Vaisheshika Prabhu describes envy as that our inability to accept the eminence of somebody else. That is envy. Somebody has got some good talent, and we are like, I don't think so. And he gives a very nice example of, two, when you have these high school reunions, and people come there and they meet, and they're like, oh, do you know that Kumar, who was in our school, that, the backbencher who always failed, do you know, he's now a judge in the Supreme Court. And the other one will say, nah, get out of town. You must be just, kidding. I'm like, no, he is. And, so then the other person will say, but I don't think they are paying him. So this is envy, the inability to accept the eminence of somebody else. And here's a question coming for you. Who's the most eminent? And why? Unmute yourself and tell me. Who's the most eminent? It's an easy question.
Krishna.
Krishna.
Yes. And why do you think he's the most eminent?
Because he is the supreme.
And why do you think he's the supreme?
He is the giver of everything.
Huh?
He gives everything. He is the one who gives everything. He is the one who creates everything.
As well as he controls everything, Mataji.
He controls everything, right? So that's why he's the most revered, he's the most respected, and he has everything, right? The six opulences in the fullest exist in Krishna: the most beautiful, the most knowledgeable, the most powerful, the most wealthy, right? So on and so forth, the strongest, and then the most renounced, right? So when a person has got all these six opulences to the fullest, obviously he will be eminent and given respect like that, right? So here Krishna, and because we were envious of Krishna, when we were supposed to go and do things for Krishna and do things for Krishna's pleasure, we were like, why? I can't accept that. Well, I want it also. I think I'm equally good. And so Krishna has created this nice place for us to go figure it out about who is eminent, like that, right? And then slowly come back. It's not that his punishment for us was extremely strong and extremely bad. He said that in the beginning he creates the Vedas, demigods are there and we are there, and if we follow the Vedic injunctions in one lifetime we can go back, but we don't want to do that because we are little controllers, right? We don't want to listen to it. There's still streaks of envy which are there in our heart, and this envy is something that can kill us. It can kill us internally. What I mean by that is, right, it is something that when it burns your heart inside and kind of chokes the breath out of you, envy can be so all-consuming. And that's why especially in devotional service we encourage not to be envious. So what are the things we should not be envious of? Any ideas, thoughts, suggestions?
Anybody else's power?
Somebody else's power, we could be envious of that. Okay. What
Fame.
else? fame. Okay.
Wealth.
Okay, now you're going to give me the
Knowledge.
6 opulences.
Beauty too.
Knowledge, Mataji.
Okay, that's also the opulence.
All the 6.
Can there be enviousness between devotees? Can we be
Yes.
envious of a devotee?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mataji, I was going to
Yes.
say we should not be
We're not
envious of
pronounced.
someone. Sorry, go ahead.
Like their renunciation or austerities.
The austerities that somebody is performing, yes. The fact that somebody is renounced, doesn't care, that could be envious. One could be envious of that, right? Envious of some devotee's progress. Envious because your spiritual master said nice things about some other god sibling. That's enough to be, right? Envious. Like, so the envy is there, just sitting right there and ready to jump out at us. So here in this verse, they're saying that, Krishna is saying that non-envious, right? And he said that even in the 9th chapter, that the first verse, very first verse of 9th chapter, where he's trying to tell him the most confidential knowledge, he's saying, well, because you are non-envious, that's why I'm giving you. Because as long as you are envious, and what is Krishna telling in the 9th chapter? What is the ultimate that Krishna says in the 9th chapter? Anybody remember? What does he say in the 9th chapter? Very famous verse.
Patram pushpam phalam toyam.
Okay, Pattam Pusham Phalam Soyam, he says that. And then another famous verse. What does he say? 9th chapter.
Manmana madvad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru mame shri yurtante.
Yeah. So here, Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So he's saying, like in all his glory, he's standing up and he says, you bow down to me, offer obeisances to me, worship me. Right? So he's saying that you worship me, bow down to me. And then if you have envy, you will not do that. Why will you bow down to him when there is envy? Right?
So, I have a question, Shraddha Mataji, just regarding envy. But who are we even to think of being envious of Krishna? We are just, mere mortals, and that thought cannot even enter our head. It's okay to be envious of humans like ours in the mortal world, but Krishna is already almighty. How can we be envious of him? We are never going to achieve that, that level where we would, be like him or anything. So where would the envy come in? I don't understand why he's telling not to be envious.
Not to be, because envy can come in a very subtle manner also, right? See, why do we have to worship Krishna? Okay, get up early in the morning, take a cold shower. This is month of Kartik. You should be doing extra austerities, right? Mm-hmm. And in the morning, the alarm goes off and like, no, I stayed at home. I worked late very night. I need to rest, right? And it's like, okay, can you get up now and then take rest later? No. That is an envy at a very subtle level where I'm saying that, I am at a higher level. My needs are more than my other need, spiritual need or spiritual duty to do worship to Krishna. So from that perspective, they are also talking about envy and enviousness, right? So the question is that why should I do it? And that is what brought us here in the material world. Right. And then so for us on the face of it, we might not be as envious as say Kamsa was to Krishna, right? But it is there in the subtle form. It is very much there in us. Yeah. So to be able to say that, man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru, right? So Krishna is saying that you do all that. And if there is one trace in me where it says that, why should I? Or it's okay for me not to do it. So this means that we are not accepting the eminence of Krishna. We're not accepting the fact. And so there is some envy in us. And so if a person is envious and you try to tell him that you bow down to me, it's not going to work properly. And that's why
devotee will never do that, right?
Yeah. Devotee will not do that. A pure devotee will not do that, right? So we are all in our stages of devotional service, right? So that we're talking about pure devotee. And that's why Krishna is saying, but because you're non-envious of me, I'm going to tell you this confidential information. And this confidential information is that, you worship me. And so people who are envious of Krishna in that way, that, they refuse to accept his eminence, they will not do it. I mean, there are so many people, and that's the sad part. And Kunti Maharani says that in Kunti Maharani's prayers of Srimad Bhagavatam, 1st canto, 8th chapter, where she says that, it is better for me to get the problems in life, vipda in life, distress in life. Why? Because then that's when I think about you. And the problem with this country is that there is opulence everywhere. And I had gone on book distribution out to some place today, and I was talking to a mother who has a very small child, and she was very particular about the child being brought up, and she's taking extra pains so that child can learn the Hindi language or the Hindi script, so that she can read the prayers and books and things like that. She was doing a lot. And then she was just talking about a family 2 blocks down the road where she lived. And she was saying that, there's a lady there, she lives with her daughter and family. And the lady's mother has come, and they are from, of all the places, Gujarat in India, right? And they've come from that place. And now the grandmother, was asking this lady, my friend, that, do you teach prayers to your daughter? Do you talk about the Indian scriptures, etc., Ram, Hanuman, and all that? Do you talk to your daughter? So she said, yes. She said, well, unfortunately, my daughter has told me not to talk about that at all. She has said that, I don't want to have anything to do with the Indian culture. I don't want any talks of God. So why do you think? And this was a neighborhood where every house is like $3 million, $3.5 million house. Why do you think? Because you have got money, because you have got everything, because you have got the control, so that envy of Krishna will come. Why should I do that? Why should I talk about God? Why do you want to teach about God to my child? That's the sad part. And that's envy of Krishna. So to such a person, if you tell them, forget about saying man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru, you bow down to me, forget about that. Even to tell Spirit, read the Bhagavad-gita, touch it, that itself is, a thing. So envy can come in many, many forms. And so this is the non-devotee behavior. A devotee behavior is very different, right? The prasadam falls on the ground, he picks it up and eats it. God doesn't want, right? Anybody. So Krishna is looking at that trait and saying that if you are non-envious. So a couple of traits that he's looking at there. So does that answer your question? So Kumal Radhe?
Yeah.
Is it right? Yeah. So so Krishna, let's go back to our verse. And so Krishna is talking about that. And then Krishna is also telling us, so what are we doing his injunctions are there. So we have to follow his injunctions without envy, and then also faithfully, right? So faith is also very, very important. And last time we had talked about faith, right? We had talked about faith, and we had said that in the 9 stages of devotional service, the first stage is when you have faith, adau Shraddha, right? The first thing that you need to have is to have faith in God. Without faith, then it doesn't lead to anything good, right? So faith is very, very important. And then I had also talked about that there are stages of faith itself, right? In the beginning, the faith is very, very soft, like a banana tree. It can be swayed in any of the directions. And actually, I just put together a little table for all of you before this class. And let me see if I can bring it up here and share it with you. And one of you can confirm and be able to read it. Okay, I won't be able to go bigger than what I have here. And let me start sharing my screen. Okay, can you see that?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, good. And you read it also?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji.
Nice. All right. So when we are talking about devotees, right? Devotees we know can be in different stages of devotional service on their path to going back to Krishna. And so depending on their level of where they are of perfection in their devotional service, they are said to be the lowest or junior or Kanishta Adhikari. Then they are the intermediate level devotees, or known as Madhyamadhikari. And then they are the highest most, topmost, and those are known as Uttam Adhikari. And so what makes them a person Uttam Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, or Kanishta Adhikari is two things. There is faith, and there is the knowledge of scriptures. So for a Kanishta Adhikari, the faith is very weak. And it's like the banyan, tree, can be swayed in any direction. And they have little to no knowledge of the scriptures. Then the next higher level is the Madhyam Adhikari. And the Madhyamadi, the faith is medium, is a little strong, right? Than the Kanishta Adhikari. And the knowledge of the scriptures, he's got some knowledge of the scriptures. And Uttam Adhikari, the faith is very strong, knowledge of the scriptures is also very strong, right? So what happens, when you are in any of these Adhikari stages, right? Kanishta Adhikari, Madhyam Adhikari, Uttam Adhikari, what happens to you in your life when you are at that stage, right? So Kanishta Adhikari has least faith in God, and also very least knowledge of the scripture. So he might just go and start talking about Bhagavad-gita, has read a few things here and there, and then anybody out there can talk to him and say that, you know what, but you said this. However, in that chapter of Bhagavad-gita, it says this, right? So then they do not have that much of knowledge of the scriptures to be able to counteract and say, well, this is what it says, but our acharyas say that. And however, in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that. And if you look at this and look at that, they are not able to do that. So what happens with Kanishta Adhikaris is that they have very little faith in God, and they have very little knowledge of the scriptures. So people are able to convert them, right? So if they were born a Hindu, they will easily become a Christian or a Muslim. You just have to convince them, give them some money or whatever, and they will sway. It's like a banyan tree this way, right? Madhyam Adhikari, his faith is, medium. It's stronger definitely than the Kanishta Adhikari. The faith is strong, but the knowledge of scriptures is little. So what's going to happen is that because his faith is very strong, a person can come and say, hey, what your Bhagavad-gita says that, and, I think that point is wrong, and, what do they talk, this and that, right? And so because his knowledge of the scriptures is less, he won't be able to give it back. He won't be able to win that argument, right? However, because his faith is strong, you can't convert him. You can talk anything nonsense that you want to talk, but, he will still remain a Vaishnava.
It says,
His faith should actually be strong. So my mistake writing that. Yeah. Was there a question there?
that was my question, Mataji.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess but one question that comes to me is is it possible to have strong faith? I mean, is it because he would have the medium knowledge of scriptures that at least he has the strong faith? I mean, why his faith would be strong in this situation?
Very good question. Faith can come from various reasons. Faith could be coming from previous birth. Faith could be coming from security. Faith could be coming because you are moving up and down with people who have faith. Faith could be because you are listening to Krishna Katha, and slowly the faith has come to that level of being strong. Faith could become because faith is strong because anartha nivritti has happened, right? Anarthas have gone away. Why did the anarthas go away? Because of bhajana kriya, right? So last time we were talking about adhav shraddha tatha sadhu sangha tha bhajana kriya tha, right? So like that, it anartha nivritti sya tatha ruchi tatha nishtha, right? So tatha nishtha tatha ruchi, right? So like that, your faith became strong from following that particular process, right? But your knowledge of scriptures is still, a little bit dicey. So you won't be able to stand up and say, hey, you are saying this and this is wrong. And by the way, like that, you can't do that, but you can't sway them.
Thank you, Mataji. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And Uttam Adhikari his faith is very strong. His knowledge of the scripture is at the highest level. And actually, this is the person, forget about converting him. He actually converts others. Can you give me an example of Uttam Adhikari?
Srila Prabhupada.
There you go. Right? So this is the role that faith is going to play, right? And also, as we evolve in faith, the first level is that there's faith in God. Do you think you have faith in anything else in your life? Are there other things that you have faith on? Or is it just with respect to God that we talk about faith?
It's in the doctors, Mataji, the doctor we go and say, we have to, we can
Yes.
rely on them.
Yes. And what about the surgeon? You allow him to use a knife on your body, right?
Yes, Mataji.
We have faith
that
in our
is-
parents.
You have faith in your parents. Yeah.
Mataji, faith in the devotees is very important
Yes.
because
Do you have,
they take well on.
yeah. Do you have faith in your insurance company?
No.
Then why are you giving money to them?
We don't
Well,
have a
Yes,
choice.
Mataji, part of the, yes, Mataji, we have that if anything happens in the house or something
Yeah.
that they will, or
They
in
will
the
be-
car, with the car, so they will help.
Exactly. Exactly. There is faith. There is faith. When you switch on the, when you put on the alarm in the night, what is the faith that you have?
Get up.
It will wake you.
You will wake up.
Okay. The faith is that you will wake up. Even before that, what is the faith? That you will be alive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So at every step, we have got faith. Every step. We have faith. Think about climbing on an aircraft with no knowledge of how to take over an airplane if something goes wrong. You have faith that the pilot is not drunk. So we are putting our faith in so many things. In so many things. Anything that we do, there is an element of faith there. Why did you buy a Toyota? Why did you not buy what is another car? Tesla. Or why did you buy a Tesla and not a Toyota? And there was faith, right? And when you take your car to the mechanic and he says, okay, now your brakes need some adjustment, and he adjusts the brake, and there is faith that he did adjust the brakes. So there is faith all the time. Now, one thing to keep in mind, however, so there is faith and then there is blind faith. So what is the difference between faith and blind faith?
In the faith, Mataji, sometimes we have doubts, and blind faith means no doubts at all. You just think that that person or wherever in position that you can believe in that position or that person completely, means blindly.
As well, a very nice point that you brought up was doubt, right? And so now tell me, which part of your body creates the doubts?
Mind. Mataji? Mind. Yes.
Okay, and so give me an example of a doubt. Any doubt? No doubts? Class is
Yes.
over.
Like Mataji, you see recently the halter was done and they found, and I was just thinking whether the doctors will be able to diagnose it properly or not. So that was a doubt.
Okay. Okay. So there was a doubt on the diagnosis of the doctor. So whether the diagnosis is correct or whether the diagnosis is wrong, right? So you're making some distinctions, right? You're making some discrimination that, okay, so there are two types of diagnosis. One is a right diagnosis, one is a wrong diagnosis. You're distinguishing between the two. And now you're saying which one will be there, will it be for me? Right? That was a doubt that you got. Okay. Another doubt. Thank you for sharing that version, Mataji.
I can share one doubt. Mataji, I joined late today. Sorry, I was on another conflict. This is Poonam.
No problem, Mataji. Better late than never. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. I can share a doubt. I recently had it, and I actually get it almost every day. I was dropping my daughter to the airport, and like many thoughts started appearing. Oh, it's a bigger airport, like she was going through San Francisco, and she won't be able to find her way to the security, and she will miss a flight. So those were the doubts, like confidence, her ability to be, independent and finding the security and going through, because she was traveling first time. So there were many doubts I can talk about. Like I go to office, and if I have a presentation, first doubt always comes, oh, am I really going to be presenting well today? Am I prepared? So all those doubts basically starts coming, the night before my presentation is. So these are some of the examples.
Some examples, right? So if you take the example of the daughter, so here was that, there were again two situations, being able to pass the security properly and not being able to pass the security properly, right? So then there are two situations that you have analyzed, and you have said, well, one is a good situation, one is a bad situation. And now it was like, which one will it be for my daughter? She's traveling for the first time. Similarly, there is a good presentation in office, and then there is a not so good presentation, and which one will I be able to do it, right? So there's always a discrimination that we are making between two situations, right? When the doubt comes. Now tell me, discrimination is a function of which part of your body?
Brain.
More answers. I'll give you a hint. I'm looking at your subtle body.
Intelligence.
Intelligence. Exactly right, for 550 points. Meera Mataji. It's the job of the intelligence to doubt. Because it is the intelligence which discriminates. It's the intelligence which is going to tell you whether this is right or whether this is not right. Whether this is wrong, this is good, this is safe, this is not safe. This is a good bet, not a good bet, good investment, not a good investment, good thing to eat, good doctor, not a good doctor, good diagnostic, not a good diagnostic. Discriminating between all this, intelligence does it, right? So there is intelligence that is involved to discriminate. So now, when it comes to faith, when you don't use your intelligence at all, when you don't use any reasoning at all, and you accept something, that is known as blind faith, that you're not able to see. And when you use the word see, it's not practically seeing it. It's that seeing that you do through your subtle body, that is to comprehend something, right? So you are not able to do that. You don't put anything, just blind faith. Everybody's saying that, so we'll just do it. Why? No. So Krishna doesn't say that. Krishna doesn't want us to do blind faith on him, right? That's why he speaks for like 17 chapters, right? So he explains all this. He explains all that, but then in the end, he wants us to use our intelligence and to use our free will and then come to a conclusion. Blind faith sometimes will just happen because of, my grandfather did it, so that's why I'm doing it. But when you add a little bit of reasoning to it, then it is a proper faith. Right? So in the 18th chapter, when we are kind of coming to the conclusion of it, there's a very nice verse, and let me just bring that verse up and we can all look at it together. How do I share my screen? Here. It's 18.63 for the records. Iti te jnanam akhyatam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishe tad asheshena yatechasi tatha kuru. So what he's saying is, thus I have explained to you, like after speaking all that Bhagavad-gita, he says, thus I have explained to you knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. That is the most important thing here, that Krishna still gives us the free will. He still gave the free will to Arjuna to say, Arjuna, if you really want it, then you do it. If you don't want it,
Can't hear you, Mataji.
yeah, sorry. Since when did since when could you not hear me? I just realized that I was muted.
Just for a minute.
Just for a minute. Okay, yeah. So then Krishna, after telling him all that, is not forcing, because the free will factor is there. And then few verses down the line, then Arjuna will use his reasoning, right? Use his intelligence. And then he comes to the decision that, okay, I will fight. So it's the same Arjuna who in the first chapter had put his Gandhi aside and said, I'm not going to fight. That same Arjuna now is saying, after having understood whatever Krishna is explaining, after having understood all that, then he comes and says, okay, I will do whatever you have said. Krishna did not force him, and Krishna will never force us to do that, right? So I'm just going to stop sharing here because I see some hands are raised here. Okay, so Tapa and then Poonam.
Yes, Mataji, it was long back, but
Oh, did you? Sorry, yeah, it
yes,
showed up now.
no,
Okay.
Mataji, you just mentioned like some prashadam fell on the ground and we picked it up because the envy something was connected. So it happened with me and it did not fall from my plate, but somebody's plate. It fell down in the ground of prasadam and I picked it up. And the lady told, why you are doing this? Why you are doing this? Let it be there. I said, no, people will step on that prasadam. I should put it in the garbage. So I remember that there you told once that there are so many uh, lives or so many things that they can also eat the prasadam and they could be liberated. So, so is there any connection of the envy that time you were talking about? So I was thinking that is there any connection of the envy that's why the lady means that sorry the devotee mentioned the devotee asked me not to put that in the garbage can.
Us told you to let it lie on the floor, right?
Yeah.
Let it lie on the floor. Yes, a very subtle form, because you are at that level that this is some food that Krishna has eaten, and so you are respecting that food, and you don't want others to disrespect that by stomping on them, right? So that was your mood, and for her, it's like it doesn't matter. For her, Krishna is not eminent enough. Right? So when you make Krishna eminent, then it is all encompassing thing. When Krishna is the best of the best, then it is 360 degrees, 24/7. In no way will you ever agree to go against the injunctions of Krishna at that level, right? And that's why you see that the gopis, when Krishna would play the flute and they would go there, they went against all the injunctions, not Krishna's injunctions, but other social injunctions, right? They were married, but they still went. Why? Because for them, serving Krishna was the extreme that they wanted to do. It's like that. So to reach that level, and that's why, again, in the stages of bhakti that we were talking about, last was prema, love of Godhead. Prema Bomarto Mahan, to get the love for Krishna is the best and the highest gain for the human body, for anybody in the human body. Yeah.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you for asking that question. Yeah. Poonam Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. So my question is, you talked about free will. I want to understand that a little bit more. I think I probably have some idea about it, but not sure I understand that fully. Can you please maybe explain a little bit more?
Well, so the concept of free will, actually, to understand that first you have to go back and understand why we were created, right? Why did Krishna make us whenever he made us? It's a long time ago, but he definitely made us, right? So Krishna is when we talk about the qualities, we talked about some opulences of Krishna. We didn't talk about like beauty, wealth, fame, and all that, but we didn't talk about all of his qualities, right? And one of his quality is Krishna is a pleasure seeker. He likes to enjoy things. And because we are part and parcel of Krishna, that is why the tendency to enjoy is also in us, right? Okay, so let's rewind to when Krishna is there and he is a pleasure seeker. He wants to enjoy. Now, to enjoy, there have to be two, right? The enjoyer and the enjoyed. And so that's why he created all of us there to enjoy us. But it was a mutual thing that, the enjoyment will be mutual to both of us, to the soul as well as to the Lord. For example, when your daughter was leaving for the airport, right? As a mother, you might think, okay, let me make something for her, cook something nice, let me pack some laddus or whatever, or pack her suitcase or anything, or let me drive her to the airport, whatever you're doing, right? So if you are doing something for her, she enjoys it, definitely, because she's the receiver of that service, but you also enjoyed it. Although it could have meant that, standing in front of the stove in the heat and cooking something for the child. But there is enjoyment there. And why is that enjoyment? Because true love is there, right? Same thing doesn't happen to us in the work. At work, in our offices also, sometimes a lot of work comes and we complain. We immediately start complaining, right? But if the child falls sick in the night and we have to wake up to boil some water and give it to the child, we don't complain. The difference is there. And what is there? Love, which is there. So Krishna, in that process of, he's enjoyer, he wants to enjoy, he created us. And the equation was that, we will derive pleasure only in serving him. That is how we are wired to work. However, he gave us the free will to do it or not to do it. And why? Why has he given us that free will to love him or not love him? Is because if you wire something to love you, then where's the enjoyment there, right? Because you wired it and now it's happening. For example, if I write a program and I start running that program on the computer, which says, oh, Shraddha Mataji, you're the greatest, you're the best, you're everything, I won't get any enjoyment out of it because I myself created it, right? All this glorification, all that thing, right? But if somebody else on their own comes and says, oh, you're very nice, then I like it, right? The same thing is with Krishna, right? So he wants to enjoy it and enjoy us, but he also wants us to enjoy also. And he wants us to do it on our own will, because that is true love. When the other person does it from their own choice with no particular, restrictions on them or a control on them that you have to do it, right? For example, if somebody, a man goes up, wants a woman to love her, right? The woman doesn't love the man. And the man then takes out a pistol, puts it on her head, and then she will say, yeah, I love you. But is that real love? No, right? So that real thing has to come from the heart. And so Krishna is looking for that real thing, and that's why he gave us his free will. And when we misuse that free will, so I have a choice. Free will means I have a choice whether I want to worship Krishna or I don't want to worship Krishna. I want to follow his injunctions. I don't want to follow his injunctions. And that is why in 18.63, which we just looked at, Krishna said that, I've told you everything, Arjuna. It's now your wish, whether you want to fight the war or not want to fight the war. He did not say, Man mana bhad mad bhakto madhyaji yuddha karu. He did not say that. After explaining all these things to him, he still left the final choice to Krishna. He's saying, I want you to do this. This is the best way to do it because you are mame vancho jiva loke. He's explained all those things, but still the final decision is still in the hands of the devotee or on the hand of the jiva soul to do it. Right? And that is why you see that the Paramatma in our heart, we said he's the Updrishta Anumanta, right? So Updrishta Anumanta, Updrishta means he's looking, he's a supervisor, from the top he's looking at everybody. So Updrishta, and Anumanta means he's going to give you the permission. And so whatever desires that we have, he's just looking at it and he's giving you permission. Okay, you want to do this? Do this. You want to drink, 20 glasses of orange juice? Drink it, right? There will be consequences, but that's for you to handle. It was your decision. But I'm just going to allow it. And that's why it says that not a blade of grass moves without Krishna's permission. So even if we think that we did this, even if we think like maybe in an office, we think we made a nice presentation, it happened because of Krishna's will. He wanted, he gave you the permission to make it nicely. But then because you wanted to do it, you will get it like that. So that is free will. And the main premise of having a free will is to get true love for Krishna in the end. However, now we go to the Updrishta part of it, right? As the agent in our heart, Krishna is looking at all the thought processes. He can hear our thoughts, whatever we're doing, our desires, etc. He's looking at all that. And the moment he sees that we are turning towards devotional service, and that's why in our scripture, there's this nice story of two birds sitting on a tree, right? One bird is Krishna and the other bird is the soul, and this tree is this body. And so one bird is going from one twig to another twig, eats some fruit and likes it, eats, pecks on another fruit, does not like it, and then cries because it's bitter or sour or tangy or whatever. And then after some time, this bird turns and then looks at the other bird, which is Krishna. And the moment you turn your face and look at Krishna, then Krishna will go and take 10 steps towards you and might even take your life in hand. So before we turn to Krishna, we are under the control of Maya, the material Maya, the Durga Devi. And the moment we turn our face towards Krishna, then our life is in the control of not Durga, but Maya, which is Radharani, like that, Yoga Maya. That Maya takes care of our lives. So maybe sometimes at a higher stage, you will even be willing to give up your free will. And at that high stage, you see in Shikshashtakam, the last verse, it says, you do whatever you want to do with me. Even if you go and look at others, if I lampat, right? Lampat means you're debauchee. You go and look at other men, other women, whoever you want to look at. And even if you don't show your face to me, but I'll still be worshipping you, right? So one reaches that particular stage where the Jiva souls even gives up that thing, that free will, completely amalgamated with just in love of Krishna, like, I'll just do whatever you want to do, but I will not stop loving you. And that's the ultimate in devotional service. Difficult to attain, but has been attained by people like that.
So, Mataji, sorry, go ahead, please.
Go ahead, Mataji. Go ahead.
We'll complete with Poonam first. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mataji, did I hear you said Ma Durga is
Maya.
Maya?
Material Maya. Yeah.
I got it. Okay. So, material means is anything which we desire for the materialistic things, right?
Exactly.
House, good job.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
And that's why you see, I remember the first time I went for Durga Puja, I was a kid, 5 years or 6 years old. And so Durga had killed that demon, Narkasur, Mahishasur, I'm forgetting the name, but that demon she had killed. So they show her, right, with her hand, and she has got that trident in her hand. And there's the demon is lying at her feet, and she is putting the trident into him. And so the person who was with me said, today is a very nice day. She has killed that demon. She's very happy. Today is a very nice day for you to ask her anything that you want to ask her because she's happy. Right? So Durga, you go for that. Right? But when it comes to devotional service, then there's Radharani or Yog Maya who comes there. And she takes care of your things. She will take care of your devotional life and arrange things for you and take you back home, back to Godhead. Yeah.
So does it mean if someone prays for, Mata Durga, we are praying for materialistic desires? Is that what it means?
Usually people go to Durga for that only, right? However, Durga is a demigod. We also got to understand, there's also one point that I wanted to bring up, and that is that Durga Rani is actually an expansion that comes from Radharani only. She's an expansion from there, but her job is this. She has got a very thankless job, right? What does Durga do here? She's got that trident. What does that trident represent? One is that she was killing, right? The demon, that is fine. But what does trident in her hand mean for us?
Threefold miseries, Mataji.
Threefold miseries. Very good. And what are those threefold miseries?
Adi Doivik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Adhyatmik.
Adhyatmik, right? And can you explain each one? Very good.
Mataji, I always
give it a try.
Yes.
Others will help you.
Yes, Mataji, which one is which? I always forget. But one is from from nature. One is from. Oh my God.
Okay, so we'll start with the one. So there's Adhyatmik, right? Adhyatmik are miseries that come to you because of your own doing, primarily because your mind desired certain things and you fulfill them and you had consequences because of that. For example, eating chocolate for 40 years and then suffering a heart attack. What do you say, Sonia?
Yes, Mataji. Nice to see you.
Yes, same here. I'm happy that Sonia could come there. And Suleika had a fantastic
yes, I saw you in the video.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Yes. So Adhyatmik comes from our mind. That's one. And then we have Adi Bhautik, that is from other living creatures. Are there any other living creatures that give you any grief or no?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
all
give
the
me
time.
some examples.
Means it could come from Mataji, living creatures means
Virus.
a mosquito can bite, that is also a living creature, and from other human being also you get so many miseries.
Right. So like mosquito biting, dog biting, viruses attacking you, other people attacking you, people misbehaving, insulting and all that. So that is another kalesh that you get, distress that you get. And then the third type of distress is Adi Daivik, the one that comes from the demigods. Daivi means demigods, right? Adi Daivik. So they are demigods are controllers of this universe. So when you have floods and volcanoes and storms and tornadoes and those kind of things, then those are of fire, right? Floods, those are under the control of demigods. So Durga is handling all that. So she has a thankless job. And so why do you think we have all these miseries? What's the purpose behind these miseries? What is the good thing about having a misery?
So we remember Krishna.
Remember Krishna.
So we remember Krishna, right? So she has a thankless job of, giving you misery so that you remember Krishna. And then also if you desire the wrong thing, of making sure you get the consequences of that, right? And sometimes, and then people just don't like it. They don't like Maya. And we blame Maya, but we are ourselves to be blamed because we started it in the beginning. Right? From our desire, the root cause of all these things, this whole universe is situated on desire, they say, right? It comes from us. Don't blame Durga. It's her job to provide whatever you wanted. So Puna Mataji, that's why when people are looking for, and she can only give you material, that's her department and her portfolio. She can only manage your material things. If you have to get your spiritual things done, then you have to go to somebody higher. And then there is Radharani's expansion, Yog Maya, who will take care of that.
Mataji, Upadrishta Anumanta. Anumanta is, what is that, Mataji?
Permission.
Permission for
to
free
do.
will. Free will.
No, permission to do whatever you want to do.
Permission to do. Okay.
Right? When action is performed, there are 5 factors for that action, right? There's
and
a soul.
Upadrishta is watching us. Upadrishta is watching us.
He's watching you, yeah.
This comes in chapter 8, which we have to read, right? For Kartik, the Adi Deva, Adi
Yes,
Bhuta,
yes,
and then
yes.
Adi Yagya. That's
Right,
the
right,
supreme.
Adi Bhutam Chakim Praptam, Adi Devam Kimuchyate. Yeah. Chapter 8. Any other questions? We are 8 minutes past the hour. Was there any other hand that I missed?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Meera.
It's not really a question, but I'm still having a hard time understanding, grasping. I understand what you said, the subtle level of envy, but sometimes, I'm having a hard time accepting it because I feel like I am in that category too, but I don't feel like I'm envious of Krishna. Actually, that, I'm lazy quite a bit, and I agree that. And when I was in Vrindavan in 2020, February, the devotee, actually, he's a good friend of mine also. I met him after a long time, and he's a very, very great devotee as far as I'm thinking and his aspirations. So actually, this actually happened to me. We went to Jaipur and we went to the mandir and we were waiting. We got tickets to eat the prasadam, Mahaprasadam. And we were so excited and we were just waiting because we were so exhausted. And somebody gave me a prasadam, 1 laddu. So he was sitting next to me and there was hardly anybody around us. So I split that laddu and gave it to him. And a little piece fell on the floor. And he picked it up and actually ate it. I never said anything to him, but in my mind, because I know his devotion, because he's the one who kept sending me everything about Krishna coming to Vrindavan right from almost 2 or 3 years ago. So when he kept on telling me, come to Vrindavan while he's there. And in my mind, I thought, oh, that is really strange. I didn't say anything to him, even though I like him a lot, but I had in my mind this, oh, that's so strange. What a strange habit. I didn't think it was because I envied anything. I don't know, because maybe my understanding is not good in a subtle way. It is envy. I don't know how to think about it.
Right. Because we are
a lot
always,
of things.
we are thinking of envy in a stereotyped way, right? Kansa,
Right.
envious, kaha hai Krishna, mujhe marna hai, Vishnu ko bulao, main marunga usse, right? We think that envy is expressed in that way. And so when I say envy is expressed in that subtle way, right? The subtle way was that he has accepted Krishna as the supreme and you haven't. Because we are saying that it's a strange way. Any other devotee would have just thought and said, oh, I wish I had eaten it from the floor. Right?
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, you see, that is that difference.
And he gave me the prasadam to take it with me when I was coming. Honestly, yeah, I didn't realize what a great devotee he is. And I also know one of my cousin in Sacramento. He has been a devotee for a long time. So I actually, in few days, because I didn't eat everything and it was food, I didn't think twice before discarding it. And my cousin calls me and says, hey, did you bring prasadam? I want some. And now I'm realizing the value of it. And he told me, no, you could have kept it. Why did you throw it away? And I feel really bad, but I didn't know at that time how the value of it.
But now you do?
I'm learning slowly, very slowly.
That's fine. That's fine. And actually, let's just bring up the verse again from today. Where did I lose that verse? I think I lost the verse somewhere. Okay, anyway, let me share this. It went into word by word index. Where did it go there? Okay, today's verse is 331, right? In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. What do you say, Meera Mataji? As hope.
Yeah, I really love to hear that. I was late also today and I didn't hear that.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is saying that in the beginning, it will happen.
I always feel like I'm in the beginning, no matter what.
It's a very good thing. It's a very good thing to have that feeling.
Okay.
Because Vaisheshika Prabhu says the three things which are impediment to learning and any progress is I know that, or I am that. The moment you reach that stage, then nothing further has to be done. I know that. Why should I even hear? I will tell you. Right? I've already reached that stage. I don't have to do anything further.
Yeah.
Somebody had asked Prabhupada that, we pray to the Lord. We pray to the Lord so that we don't, if we reach at that stage, we are at a fallen stage, right? So we pray to the Lord that we reach that stage where we have pure love for the Lord. So they asked that, so Prabhupada, is that what we should do? Yes. And then they said, so Prabhupada, have you, we think we have reached that, you have reached that stage of love of God. But tell us, Prabhupada, why do you pray? If you have reached that stage of God, why do you pray? And Prabhupada said, I pray so that I stay in that place. And I don't fall down.
I don't fall down. Yeah.
So it is important. Yeah. So it's always good to have that feeling, because there's something known as a fresher's enthusiasm. And if you're thinking that you're a fresher, you'll always be enthusiastic. Otherwise, what happens is that if you're doing your devotional service for a long time and you're chanting and you're just seeing like 40 years and 40 years have passed and I'm not getting the taste for chanting, it's all useless, right? And so then that disappointment will come in. And then slowly the faith will dwindle. And that is why we say that you need association of devotees who are around you, who will say, no, hang around, it will come, don't drop. Continue your practice, continue your sadhana, do that. Right? So like in the beginning, I said, faith, there was a question, how do you get faith? And I was listing so many things, and one of them is to be in the association of devotees. And here's a very beautiful thing that I would like to say as the last thing of the day today, unless there are more questions. Oh, Varshana has a question. Okay, Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Mataji, you say what you have to say. I can ask the question.
I will say that in the end. Yeah.
Okay. Mataji, we read Chaitanya Chitramrit. I read with somebody on WhatsApp call. We read every day. Mataji, but sometimes what happens that Mataji is very fond of talking. So she talks about the scripture only, but in the bargain, what happens that our speed becomes slow. So I get irritated at times. I mean, I don't show my irritation, but I do get irritated. What is this? Why do I get irritated? Why can't I have the patience to listen what she is saying?
There can be many reasons for that, right? Irritation is a subtle form of anger, right? You agree to that? It's a subtle form, right? A younger brother of anger is irritation. Because if you continue to be irritated continuously, you will be angry, get angry, right? At some point. Irritation is a softer way of getting angry. And now tell me, why does anger happen? Anger is the younger brother of? Krodha is the younger brother of?
Lust, Mataji, and
lust. And lust is kama, right? Desire. So there is some desire. And because the desire is not being fulfilled, so then there is irritation or krodha is coming. So now let us see what could be your desire there.
Desire is to study.
To read,
Why waste
continue
time?
reading.
Why waste
Desire
time?
is to read. You have got a goal, you want to achieve that goal. And when that goal is not being achieved, you will feel irritated like that, right? So now the question is that should we aim for goals or not? Should you just allow that Mataji to just, stay stuck on one verse, and then an hour is gone, and then 10 years later, you have just studied 3 verses from Chaitanya Charitamrita and not met your goal, right? That is also not right. So there has to be some sort of a balance there, right? So you can set the rules. You can set the rules and say let's read for 10 minutes. And then after every 10 minutes, we'll break for 2 minutes to have reflections. And then we will continue again for 10 minutes and we'll break again for reflections, like that. You can set the rules there, right? Right? So look at that. And then you see, you look at it also that, maybe she's giving you something very worthwhile. Very
yes,
interesting.
Mataji, it happens sometimes. Yes.
Yeah.
She tells her experiences. She has gone to many yatras. She is a mother-in-law of Swarup Damodar Prabhu. And you see, she knows a lot actually. And I always offer my obeisances unto her lotus feet. I really respect her, but Mataji, sometimes, yes, you are right. I get irritated that why can't we read first and finish it? Yeah.
Right. And if you find that you're benefiting so much from her things, you can cut your session into 2 parts, right? You can tell, and this will be a very interesting thing. Varshana Mataji, you will notice, right? You're already saying that she's at an exalted level, right? She's exalted devotee, right? And so you're very fortunate that you're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita with her, right? So you look at things in a different perspective. And then, if you listen to her, you will have a lot of benefit come to you.
Yes.
A lot of benefit will come. So then why don't you design your course like that? That I'm going to have, if you are reading for an hour, then maybe 40 minutes of reading and then 20 minutes of a talk or something like that. So you change your approach there. And once you do that, or second thing could be like, here's a devotee in front of me, and this is also Krishna's will, because she can't also speak without Krishna permits her to speak. And sometimes Krishna speaks to you through his devotees.
Yeah.
Right? And we refuse to take that help. Sometimes the help comes from his devotees. And so, there's a very nice story that there was a man who was drowning in water. in a river. He was drowning and he was a bhakta or, some sort. And so he started praying to the Lord, like, oh Lord, please, Bhagwan, aao mujhe bachao. Mujhe yahan se nikal do. Please take me out of the water. I'm going to drown. Water is coming up to here. And then suddenly a boat comes, right? And a fisherman comes to the boat and he says, hop onto my boat. And this man turns to the fisherman and says,
He'll come.
no, I'm waiting. I'm asking God. He'll help me. So sometimes God has to talk to you through his people, and we have to understand that, right?
That's true.
So the moment we put on that mindset that, if other people are talking to me, they're saying something to me, it is actually Krishna trying to tell me something, then your mood will change and then you will start looking forward to those classes, actually, instead of resenting them. So everything starts from us. And how
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Yeah, how situational
Thank
permit.
you so
However, there can be some talkers, there can be some talk. I'm not talking about this particular Mataji, but I'm just saying there can be some talkers also. So sometimes if in the interest of a class, you have to, maintain some order and maintain some semblance and put things, yeah. Like
Thank you,
that.
Mataji. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So continuing on with that particular thought that you were saying, and I was talking about Shraddha and how do you attain faith, and I was saying that be in the association of devotees. And this was this very nice person. I don't know who sent that to me, but a nice saying, somebody sent it to me. And it said that if you are in the association of flowers, you will get good smell, whether you ask for it or not. That is the power of association. That is the power of being with devotees who have got Shraddha. Those who have got faith. That even if you don't ask them and tell them that I want faith, you will still get the faith nonetheless. Because those vibrations are going to affect you. The dust from the lotus feet is going to come through your nostril and affect you. Poonam Mataji has raised her hand.
Thank you so much, Mataji. This is very nice.
We have Shraddha with Shraddha Mataji.
That is my Guru Maharaj's mercy. Yeah.
We have Shraddha with Shraddha Mataji. Faith.
Okay, Poonam and then Sutapa.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. I always struggle to really identify when we say somebody is devotee or somebody is not. And the reason I'm asking that question is, I went to the temple and it was very good feeling with all the bhajans and everything was happening. And then I was the odd person out there because I did not know anybody. I'm talking about the mountain we come. And when the ceremony, like the bhajans and everything actually completed, there was a lunch program, and then they were.
Then what happened after the lunch?
Just as an example, I'm saying.
Sorry, Mataji,
Yeah, so
I didn't hear.
Yeah, what happened after?
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened? Can you hear me?
No, I was saying I could only hear you till you said that then there was lunch. So
yeah. So before I tell what exactly happened, I wanted to make a statement. I'm not judging anybody because I am no one to judge basically anybody's. But I observed basically the families and the people, they were telling each other, hey, I think they were for example, many people were dancing on the bhajan. And then sometimes we have habit of comparing with each other. And then these group of people, they started comparing. Hey, you are more devoted than me because you were dancing like this. And it felt very odd to me. Like I felt like we are all at such a spiritual place. It is not a comparison place because comparison should be only with you, like where I was in my journey today, like versus I'm like you introspecting yourself, not your behavior with. So I always struggle to identify when we say somebody is devotee and how should one kind of seek those companies. And because I agree with you, what you're saying is in the company of devotees, the flower example you gave me resonated with me. But then how do you find and how do you accompany, basically, I think is the practical struggle which I have day-to-day basis.
Very, very nice question. And I will tell you from my own life experience that for a very long time, my job was to look at all the various kinds of documents that were produced by the team, whether they were statements of directions or they were white papers and things like that, or PowerPoint presentations. My job was to go and look for, or whether it was even software, to find defects in them. So I became such a person who would always look at defects. And so it was like, this is not a devotee because of this is not a devotee because that same habit continued. So when I came, I also used to find that, and I was almost like, calling a tooth and a nail, very blunt, because of years and years at working at corporations. You get that into your habit. And of course, maybe I was also like that. Prior to that Vidya Vadhu will tell you. Again, he's the one who suffered. So you get in that till you hear. So a couple of things I will say, that it becomes a habit. And one thing which I really like that Vaisheshika Prabhu said, and I'm applying this to me. He says that be like a honeybee and don't be like a fly. And so if you see, what does the honeybee do? She goes after the nectar. And what does a fly do? The fly goes after anything that is rotten, right? If there's a sore in somebody's body, the flies will come, right? Some dirt there, the flies will come, like that. So we have to constantly train our minds. And he did a very nice, he gave in one of the lectures, he mentioned that he was talking about, atmas, the levels of consciousness of the atmas. And he was talking about, duratmas, suduratmas, mahatmas, and sumahatmas, like that, right? So duratmas are, what, I don't like the watch that Vaishana Mataji is wearing. I think it's too big for her wrist. And I really don't like, how she's putting the hand like that. She's on Facebook, she should know that. That is one thought process, right? Finding mistakes. And it could be that she's wearing a big watch and then maybe it's not becoming and maybe, whatever, but then to point it out, that is one thing, right? And the second, this is durachar, bad behavior, duratma, things like that, me. Suduratma. Suduratma is, they will point out mistakes when they don't even exist. Suduratma, And then, of course, there is the Atma, Mahatma. Mahatma is that, you have got something good, like look at Poonam Mataji, how dedicated she is. She's got a tough job, yet she comes and listens to the Bhagavad-gita and, tries this, tries that, wants to talk to other people, this and that, right? There's something good there and we found the good and we're talking about that good, right? So from the fly, we are becoming the honeybee. We are looking after the nectar, which is there, right? Mahatma is a really amazing thing. And we should all aim to be the Mahatmas. And I'm not talking about Mahatma Gandhi and that kind of Mahatma. This is an internal purification of us. And that is when Mahatmas will see a person is bad, right? They will see a person is bad, or maybe doesn't have any gunas, any good things at all in them, right? And yet he will praise them for something which is not even there. And it'll be like, well, how can you be a Mahatma? You are lying. It's not that. It is that they see the potential in you. They see the potential in you and they will then groom you. So that is why when Srila Prabhupada came over here, he was dealing with real duratmas, right? The hippies. But he saw the potential because Prabhupada is a Mahatma. He saw the potential in every one of them, right? So one can, and we are accustomed to doing that. And we have also been trained and actually trained not to speak things like this, that, you were dancing, so you are a better devotee. It's like, look at that. They are saying, one might say that, look at those devotees. This is not the way. How are they comparing? Now we have to now look a little bit deeper and see, what is the comparison that they are making? Right? Most of the time, the comparison that we make is with ourselves. Most of the times, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of all? Right? You and only you. Right? Everybody looks in the mirror and thinks there's nobody more beautiful than I am. Right? So that is us. That is our ego. I am something. So most of the times it will be like, oh, well, she made laddus, very nice. Yeah, I can make better ones. And I think sugar is a little too extra. And, I think it was, why did she make such big laddus? She should have made smaller ones. Anything like that. We have this tendency to criticize because we don't like the envy is there in various forms. So we don't like it like that, right? So, but however, you'll find that as devotees grow in devotional service, they will keep on doing that. They will start praising the other devotees. They will say, oh, you are a better devotee because, so what they're doing, they're paying a compliment to the other devotee. They're just doing it for that. Yeah, they're doing a compliment and they're not really comparing it. And the beauty of that is, what? And here's the Guhyatam. Here is the tip. And here's the secret, Poonam. And I've seen that happen. Whatever you appreciate, you get it. Whatever you appreciate. So, if somebody is dancing very nicely, instead of, thinking that, why are they dancing? Not that you're thinking, but why are they dancing and things like that. If you say, what a beautiful dance. I mean, or, sometimes one can even say, look at that Mataji. She didn't even realize where her pallu fell. She was dancing. Of course, they should take care of it. But then instead of just looking at like being a fly and looking at the bad things there, it is a very nice story of, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, he used to go to Jagannath temple and he used to stand by the door. And when the darshan would be there, he would start looking at the deities and Jagannath, Subhadra, Baldev. So one day he was just looking. So when the curtains open, there's a mad scramble, and then some people are taller than you and you can't see the Lord. So there was this woman, he climbed on Mahaprabhu's back. On his back, and then she got Mahaprabhu is a tall man, tall, right, incarnation. So then she could see the Lord. And so one of his secretaries, he scolded that woman. He said, don't you understand? What are you doing? He's a sannyasi. You're a woman. You're climbing on his back. Get down, you woman. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned to his secretary and scolded him. He said, look at her concentration of wanting to see the Lord, that she even forgot that I'm climbing on the back of sannyasi. I wish I had that kind of a desire to see the Lord. So you see, two people saw the same situation, but in a very different manner. So for us, and this is the anartha nivritti part that we talk about in the 9 stages of devotional service. I did not even realize that I had problems, that I had defects. I was the perfect wife, perfect daughter. I just didn't know what was wrong with the whole world. Till Prabhupada opened my eyes, and then I realized that everybody in the life around me in my life was actually tolerating me. And they are really saints to have tolerated me like that. So it's a switch. That's anartha nivritti. So slowly, these anarthas will go away, and don't blame yourself personally for that. We are trained to do that. We are trained by the society, by the teachers, by this and that, right? My job was to find mistakes. Find mistakes, right? And to that extent, I mean, negative versus positive. And so Bhagavad-gita Prabhu is so amazing that he doesn't want you to use the word no in anything. So once I was preparing an announcement and I said, okay, on such and such a date, we are going to celebrate, such and such a person is going to come and give a lecture at ISKCON of Silicon Valley. And if you miss to attend this class, then recordings will be made available. And he said, it's a negative statement. If you missed it, it's a negative statement. You missed. You did not attend. You're saying that. How do you convert that into a positive? It's an art, and it'll come from practice. We know that you will relish the lecture so much and you want to listen to that again and again. So we are going to record it for you. Same thing, said in a very different way. So it's an art of just cultivating the positive, We have been taught on the negative. Most of the kids, the first word that they say is nah. Because the parents are telling nay, no. Yeah. Like that. And so that is called sadhana. That is called practice. And Poonam, we all are doing this practice, and not just you. All these things that you have listed, I'm pretty sure we can put a hand on our heart and say, yes, I have also been through this. I have also had thoughts like this. And so it's okay if these thoughts come to you, because you are not the thought, you are the soul. They're not the body.
Very beautifully explained, Mataji. You cleared
You will.
really,
I'm happy.
a lot of doubts in my mind. Yeah,
They will
thank
go
you
away.
so much. Yeah,
Doubts
thank
are
you
like
so much.
fantastic. Doubts are like demons.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they will go away. Yeah. Okay, so Tapa Mataji and then Varshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, you answered my question, means what I wanted to ask. So just,
good, 2 in 1.
yes, so just means just go like a honeybee and search for the nectar. Because I wanted to ask, like, if we are the association of the flower you just mentioned, so the good smell will come. So can we choose to leave that association from where we are getting the irritation, like Vashana Mataji explained? Sometimes we get the irritation. So if we leave that association, that will be good, or we are creating pain for them. So I just
Dadati pratiganati guhyam akhyati prichti bhungte bhajate cheva sadgati priti lakshanam. So they are in the nectar of instruction. There are 6 things that are said to be conducive for devotional service, right? And dadati guhyam akhyati prichiti. Guhyam akhyati prichiti is to ask in confidence and share things in confidence, right? So, for example, this irritation example that Varshana Mataji brought up, she was asking in confidence here. What should I do, right? So before you leave any association, because you're feeling irritated, turn around to somebody and ask. Get a third person's opinion as to what do you think is the real thing there, and then act accordingly. And then, yes, if the answer is that that association is not good, then you can leave. And Vaisheshika Prabhu tells you a very nice trick. He says that sometimes you're in an association, you went there, and it was a harmless gathering. Things were starting, and they started in a light mood, and then suddenly the conversation turned, and then they are criticizing devotees now. And that's the biggest aparadh that you can do, is to criticize devotees. Believe me, Krishna doesn't like it. So what do? Right? Technology. Put your hand in your purse and say, I got a call. I need to go. I need to use the bathroom. I have a text. Oh, sorry, I remembered. I have to leave. And then leave. If you find that it is not good, it's been confirmed it's not good, then there is no point staying there. You should leave. Once you know that it is not good, then you should immediately leave. And we are wired to do that. We can do it. For example, sometimes when you're cooking and you thought that you had boiled the potatoes and now you can peel them. And so you put your hand and pick up a potato. And if it is hot, what do? You
drop it.
You drop it, right? That's what there's a saying which says, drop it like a hot potato. So drop it like a hot potato immediately. There should be no lingering there.
So what exactly you're asking us to drop, thought or the company of the...
Drop the company.
Okay.
Drop the company. Yeah. Thoughts you cannot drop. See, thoughts, what you can do with thoughts, Poonam, is you can do thought substitution. Right? So suppose here's a bottle of ink which is black, and assuming that black is not good and white is good, just as an example, then how do I convert that bottle of black ink into a bottle of white ink, right? Keep on pouring white ink into it until the black will disappear, it'll overflow and go away. Put some more white till you'll have a white ink bottle, right? So similarly, for every bad thought that comes, and again, this is sadhana. Sadhana means practice. So you can practice. You can say that, okay, I will be, first and foremost, we don't even know that we are having a bad thought. The thought will carry us away. And that's why Arjun, what does he say? Not Arjun, it says in the Bhagavatam, it says, Manorathena sita dhavato bahi. You sit on the chariot of your mind and you go to places, right? Doesn't it take you to various places? Good and bad. I mean, sometimes I have had big fights sitting on the chariot of mind, complete dialogues and conversations sitting on the chariot of my mind. Like that, it can take you to such places, right? So, so first and foremost, we don't even know. Half an hour later, we realize that, oh, I was supposed to be reading Bhagavad-gita and I found one word there and it just took it someplace else. Right? And so slowly with consciousness, you'll get into the habit of observing what you're doing. And that is known as mindfulness. Be mindful of what you're doing. And so when you're mindful of doing it, then also what's going to happen is you will still make mistakes. Still the bad thought will come. And that's okay, because you're not the thought, right? Thought is also something material. So now you can say, okay, for every time I catch myself doing a negative thought, something bad about somebody or some naughty thought or whatever comes to the mind, then I will think 3 things about Krishna, or chant Hare Krishna 3 times, or I do something Krishna, or pick up the picture of Krishna and look at it, or read a pastime of Krishna, whatever you do. So slowly, through practice, then your mind will start to get saturated with Krishna Katha, right? And then the negative thoughts will get bored. The more you entertain an unwelcome guest, the more they're going to stay in your home, right? If somebody showed up in your home, somebody like a 6th cousin or 7th cousin whom you have not met at all, but brings up a family history, and he says that, I'm this and that, and now if you welcome them, then they will stay. If you tell them that, oh, we were also very well, thank you very much, and you offer them tea, whatever, from courtesy, Gokul tea, and then you say, okay, we have an appointment, we need to go. Thank you so much for meeting. Then they will go. Same thing about the mind also. If the thoughts are coming and they are constantly bothering you, just don't entertain and just don't act on them. And so I always tell about this: thinking, feeling, willing, and acting. These are 4, right? So these are 4 stages. The thinking is the thought has come. Feeling is now you're reacting to that thought. And because of that feeling, now you have developed a desire to do something. And then you take the action. So the thought is that she wrote me a nasty text message. And then, you now start feeling bad. You feel it in your heart, the hurt. And then the willing is that I should also give it back to her. The will has got developed. And then you go and actually write that mail or text message or WhatsApp message or whatever you do. So between these 4 stages, you should try to increase the distance, right? And sometimes all the 4 happen so quickly, we don't even know that. And the later the stage it is, the difficult it is to retract. Once you have willed it, it's very difficult to stop the action. So better to curb it in the beginning, curb the thought in the beginning. And you will say, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balvadranam tasyaham nigram manne vayur eva sudushkaram, 6th chapter. Arjun says, but it's very difficult to capture the mind. And Krishna says, yes, I agree. Krishna doesn't say, no. Krishna says, I agree. It's difficult. However, with suitable practice and austerity, you can control your mind. So it is possible. People do that, right?
So Mataji, thank you so much. I have to leave, Mataji. So thank
you. Yes, you better leave. It's 11 o'clock in the night for you and for Sumi also. But Sumi is a night bird.
10:40 nearly 11.
I know.
So thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah, I got the answer. Thank you.
Good. Okay.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So Varshana Mataji, is that a hand that you have raised or is it an old hand?
No, Mataji, I was just saying that in one yatra I saw Ramanan Sakha Prabhuji. He used to get up and start dancing whenever there is a Guru Maharaj started playing on the mridang and the sambhajan is going on. And in the beginning, I was absolutely unified that time. And I used to say, I used to think, he only gets up and does it. Why does he do it? And later I understood his love for Krishna, his intensity in devotional service. And then I realized I was the biggest fool of thinking like that. And later I realized what a wonderful devotee he is. My thought process changed.
Right. And why did the thought process change? Because of the bhajana kriya that you were doing. Because you're practicing, you're there, you're chanting, right? And you're in the association of devotees, you are in the holy dham, you're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, you're doing deity worship. All these things are affecting, and your anarthas are. So you see, after the anartha nivritti, you turn 180 degrees.
Yes, Mother.
Right? In this direction, you go to that direction. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji, for sharing. And we'll meet again tomorrow. 6:30 a.m. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I also want to share one thing.
Oh, please go ahead, Garima.
So regarding Poonam Mataji's statement, like I just wanted to say, different devotees are like everyone like I also go to temple, and Shraddha Mataji also goes to temple. And if you see me, then you will say, "Oh, you are talking like this and all." So it's like everyone is on different levels. We also want to become good devotees, but while talking and while seeing us, you don't feel like we are devotee, but we want to become good devotee. So yeah, it's like it's a perception also. So just wanted to share, Mataji.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And this is what a devotee says always, that I'm not a
You're a good devotee, Garima. Such a good devotee.
There, exactly.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's what they do. They will always say, I'm not a devotee. And the reason is that as you, like, suppose a cloth is dirty and you wash it and it is clean, right? And then you start seeing the small specks here and there. Originally, it was all brownish in color. It was a white cloth, white towel, and it was all brownish in color, so you couldn't see. But the moment you wash it, and then you'll say, oh, this little piece is still there. The same thing happens with these exalted devotees, that they'll see this little thing, and they're like, what is this? And so you will find our sages, they are singing Narottam Das Thakur, he says, Mausama patita prabhu nahi tribhuvane. Like somebody as patit as I am, you won't find them in the 3 planetary systems. That is how low he's feeling. So that feeling comes because now they cannot even tolerate even this much of dirt, right? Like that. So yeah, it's very common for devotees to say that I'm like that. So it's not that they are being falsely, humble. It's just their feelings are like that. The feelings are like that,
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Shraddha Mataji.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
Very enlightening. Very enlightening.
Thank you,
Very
Mataji.
nice, very nice. And I'd like to thank especially
And
Sonia
thank you so
Mataji.
much, Poonam Mataji, for your questions. You have, in fact, clarified our doubts.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
I like the way they're enjoying the nectar. Sonia Mataji and Raj Mataji, your mom, they're enjoying it. It's like, when 2 kids sometimes, they want to, they get 2 straws and they dip it into the same glass and they're sipping it. They're like that. With one in this hand, they're drinking Krishna's nectar.
Yes, Mataji, we are interested strong. Hopefully, we can learn with your association. And
you have learned a
get
lot.
some Shraddha from all our exalted devotees in this Zoom class.
Thank you. I'm so happy
much.
for Sulekha's that day.
In fact,
This thing.
Sulekha's
Shraddha Mataji, I'm
Very
so
happy.
thankful to you, Mataji. You have changed my life.
Guru Maharaj has changed your life. Krishna has changed your life. I'm just the instrument, remember. I have no power to change my life. If I had powers to change my life, I would have changed my own.
Mataji, my life has changed too a lot. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. That's very good. That's
Thank
good.
you very much, Mataji.
Hare
I miss
Krishna,
the
Shraddha Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
association of all the
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Super
Hare
nice.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare
Everyone.
Krishna.
Yo Vaishnaveभ्यो namo namaha. Gopramande Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari
Thank you
Bol.
so much.
Hari Bol. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, everyone.